Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 520. My name is Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakeshaw. Hey, Kevin.
Yay.
This week on the show, we're going to be taking a look at Krazy House, which is out now on VOD platforms. We're also going to be going over something we're watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Let's go ahead and dive straight on into Krazy House. This is written and directed by Stefan Hars and Flip van der Kuel. I have a synopsis here. Set in the 1990s, Krazy House follows religious homemaker Bernie and his sitcom family. When Russian workers in Bernie's house turn out to be wanted criminals, Bernie has to man up and save his imprisoned family while slowly going crazy. Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Krazy House?
I gotta say, interest was peaked. You know, you got Nick Frost, Alicia Silverstone in this ridiculous premise of a movie. You know, so it's like, it's gotta be, you know, the last thing that you would think is, well, it can't be boring, right?
You'd think.
Can't be. It's only 90 minutes long. Gotta be somewhat entertaining. And unfortunately, I don't think it was any of those things.
No, I'm in agreement with you. In fact, I hated this. I'll straight up say it. I'll straight up say that I hated it.
I hated it as well. It's been a long time since I've watched a 90-minute movie, or less than 90 minutes, that has felt so long.
It never ends. This movie never ends, and I think it's because it just doesn't. It's just never going anywhere, and it's actually not entertaining. Like once you see like, okay, like where it's going, it just wasn't entertaining to me at all. Like,
no,
at the beginning you're like, okay, you know, I get this. We've seen this before, not many times, but we've seen the whole like 80s 90s sitcom kind of spun on its head, you know, but obvious comparisons to Too Many Cooks here, or Kevin Can Fuck Himself, like that show. Like those two are, you know, within the same vein, but unlike those two, this just doesn't have anything interesting to say, and it's not entertaining and it's not funny. I had such a bad time with this movie from start to finish. I hated it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the worst part is like the early stage of this, where it's just that 90s sitcom, right? Before the Russians even show up, which, I mean, this is a movie that just makes one terrible decision after another.
It gets worse as it goes on, for sure.
Yeah. So even before the Russians show up, like, it's just not a funny premise. Like, this sitcom or whatever is not funny at all.
No, it's not. Like, I get that maybe it's not supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be cringy and like dumb, like a bad 90s sitcom. But the thing is, like, there's a way that you can do that still makes it funny, you know, like Too Many Cooks. Like Too Many Cooks, I think, is hilarious, and that does the cheesy sitcom in such a way that it works.
And that's one of my other complaints of this is it just feels wildly outdated. This feels like a movie that was made ages ago, and it's just now seeing the light of day.
Yeah,
and you're right with the Too Many Cooks thing. It's just like, I can watch Too Many Cooks. Like, I don't need this. No one needs.
You get so much more out of Too Many Cooks, and I believe that Too Many Cooks is only like 11 minutes long or something. Yeah. So you get so much more out of that than Krazy House. And again, like, Kevin Can F Himself, like that's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons of that show, and that's far more interesting and has a lot more to say than something like Krazy House, which has really nothing to say. And to your point about it feeling dated, I'm 100% in agreement with you. The comedy, as it were, feels like some of that like early to mid 2000s, like kind of edgy, dark humor.
Yes.
And like, I remember, I can't remember if it was like maybe it was last week when we were talking about Terrifier, and you were saying that, one of the things that bugged you about the Terrifier series is how mean spirited it is. This movie to me was very mean spirited, and not in like darkly comedic way. It was just in a bad way, in a way that like I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree. It's just, yeah,
Like,
it has that, like you said, the early 2000s edgy humor mixed with the like, oh, it's random.
yeah, lol, so random, like
It's so
stuff.
bad.
hmm I don't understand how anybody could really stand this movie. Now, these directors, this is a Dutch film, and I'm actually not familiar with these directors, but made they're they're known for this like New Kids series, and something tells me just by looking at those movies that they're probably within the same vein. So I would say like if you're a fan of like their that style, then maybe this is for you, you know. If I was a kid and this came out in like 1999 or sooner, 98 or something, maybe I'd be into it. Probably not, but I don't know. But this for me in 2024, there was just nothing that I enjoyed about this movie. It wasn't funny. It wasn't weird, and it was weird, but it wasn't weird enough. It wasn't weird in the right kind of ways to make it entertaining. It was just kind of stupid weird. And then like the big things that they go for, like for as the movie progresses and it becomes like more violent and sort of depraved and stuff, it's just not funny or shocking or enjoyable in any way. Like there's like an attempted sexual assault that happens that's kind of played for laughs. There's just a lot of stuff in here that did not work for me.
Yeah, I had a feeling if I looked at these directors beforehand.
Same. Yeah. I think I would have taken one look at the New Kids movies and Bros
Bros before
Before
Hose.
Hose and
Yeah.
the TV show that they did, Random Shit. I think that I would have been like, okay, nah. I think that
Do you,
this is a sign that these guys are just not for me.
do you think the Dutch are just that far behind?
Probably not. It's probably just these guys, I would have to say. Like it's but who knows? It could be. It's a shame because you do have a decent cast here, you know, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, Nick Frost, Alicia Silverstone, and what's his name? The guy from Borgman,
Yeah.
Jan the vet. Like, you know, good cast here, but man, it's kind of unfortunate.
Oh, and Kevin Conley. He
Yeah,
plays
Kevin
Jesus.
Conley as Jesus, which I didn't even recognize him actually.
I didn't either. It was just the voice. I was like, this guy is somebody. I know that voice from somewhere.
Yeah, I couldn't place him though. I ended up I didn't realize it until I looked up the cast.
Yeah, I looked up a lot of stuff on my phone. Just a heads up.
Second screening it. I actually had to do it in two sittings.
Oh, that's rough.
I didn't even get
Which
it all
is
done in one go.
and that's insane, right? For a this movie's not even 90 minutes. It's like an hour and like 28 or something like that. Like, and you can't, like, that's how bad this is. It's like, you can't.
And the thing is, like, it gets worse and worse and worse too. Like at one point, it just seems like they stopped trying. They were just like, okay, like Nick Frost, how he drops his accent and just goes back to his regular voice.
Yeah.
And like none of it really makes any sense either. Like at one point they kind of pull back and show that they're on like a studio set and stuff, but like that of course makes zero sense at all.
Yeah.
And
And I think
then
those things just made it worse. Because I know
yeah,
that they were going for like, ooh, we're random. But at the same time, it's just like, okay. I feel like,
if it was just lazy to me, it felt extremely lazy where they were just throwing stuff in that they they think would be like just wild and unhinged and be like, whoa, this is a crazy house. There's, I mean, there's a scene where there's a dead baby that gets caught on fire and gets spiked like a football into a meth lab and explodes. Like that's kind of what we're dealing with here.
Yep. That's what you got. That's what's on the docket when you load up Krazy House.
Yeah. It's a total piece of shit.
And I'm trying to decide right now what I think is worse from this year: Handling the Undead or Krazy House.
Oh, for me, it's Krazy House, because with Handling the Undead, I didn't like it, and I thought that it was like a nothing of a movie. But that movie, I already forgot about that movie. That movie's already gone.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Krazy House, I actively hated it.
Yeah.
Like Handling the Undead, I was just bored. But Krazy House, I was bored and I hated every moment of it.
Yeah, and at least Handling the Undead, there was like some sort of intelligence behind it.
Yeah, and also like how they try to do this thing that they do in Kevin Kneff himself, where they jump back and forth between like what is supposed to look like the sitcom, and then also what is supposed to look more like a dark movie, like an actual film. But they're not consistent with it. So it's there's no clear distinction between, like the horror movie or whatever you want to call it and the sitcom. It seems like that's random too when they decide to like flip back and forth between it. It's just, oh my god. And the whole gum thing, like the chewing gum thing, and how the kids, like the son becomes like the drug addict, and I hated every moment of it.
Just hated it. God damn.
All right, let's give this piece of shit a score. What are you gonna give it?
Is it like a half? Do we do halves?
Yeah. 0.5. Half? Yeah, half is the lowest.
0.5.
Yeah, 0.5 for me too. It's oh God. Anyway, let's never talk about this movie again. Let's move on and talk about someone watching on the watch list. What do you got, Kevin?
I got Someone's Watching Me! Exclamation point on the end of that. 1978. John Carpenter. It's a little known John Carpenter movie because it's a made for TV movie.
Mm.
This was made just before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this?
I have not. No.
Well, you should. Okay.
I mean, at some point I do want to see everything that Carpenter's done. I've seen almost everything at this point.
Now, when I was watching this, at first, I didn't know that it was a made for TV, but very early on, it goes black at a certain section. You're like, what is that? A commercial?
Commercial break, yeah.
Is that a commercial break? And then I looked it up, and sure enough, it's a made for TV movie.
Gotta love that.
But in terms of a made for TV movie, it's really fucking good for that. It's about this woman, Lauren Hutton, moves into a high-rise apartment in LA.
Okay.
So she moves into this apartment. She gets a job directing live TV, and like her right-hand helper is Adrienne Barbeau. And this is apparently where John Carpenter met her, and they ended up getting married. And there's a guy across the street in the other high-rise apartment complex, and he's got this big-ass telescope. He's got recording equipment. He bugs her house, and he just terrorizes her for the length of the movie. And I gotta say, it's really interesting knowing that from what I read, like he started filming Halloween like a couple weeks after finishing this movie. And some of the stuff that you see in this movie, you see in Halloween.
Mm.
So some of the stuff that, it seemed like he was trying out, the stuff that he liked. He's like, oh, I'm gonna put this in Halloween. And I think they really go well together if you were to watch them back to back.
Yeah, I already added this to my list.
Yeah, because she starts to figure it out, and this guy's like a real piece of shit. But also, like, the stuff that he's doing, like, you can't really get the police to do anything because he's not doing anything, like, illegal. So it's just pretty tight thriller.
Nice. Again, that's Someone's Watching Me from 1978. I saw Sleep. This is directed by Jason Yu. This is a South Korean thriller about a young couple. They just got married. They have a kid on the way. They're a happy couple. And then something weird starts to happen. So the husband he's an actor, somewhat famous actor. I mean, he's like not an A-lister, but he's an up and coming guy. Got some TV work and stuff. He's working steady. And something weird starts to happen where he starts to talk in his sleep. He starts to say some kind of creepy things. And then he starts to walk in his sleep. He starts to eat kind of gross things in his sleep. Like he's eating eggs, but he's like eating the shell. He's eating it like an apple. Like he's just biting into eggs like they're apples.
Yeah, that's not good.
Eating raw meat. And he's also like, one night he just starts scratching his face, like tearing the shit out of his face in his sleep. And it just gets progressively worse and worse to the point where like they go and they do a sleep study and he gets on medication, but it's not helping at all. He has to sleep in this like like a mummy bag, a sleeping bag type deal to try to prevent him from getting out of bed at night. And then the wife starts to be concerned, like actually for the safety of her and their child who is born during this. And things begin to possibly take a supernatural turn when they start to find out some more information about what could be happening here. I'm not going to spoil any of that, but it's good. It feels very Park Chan-wook-esque, where there's a big focus on like that kind of the relationship between the husband and wife, and the way that it's shot just feels very, very much reminiscent of Park Chan-wook, and also the vibe where it is clearly kind of a thriller, but there's this like dry comedy injected into it, which really works in its favor. So I give it a recommend. Recommend checking out Sleep.
All right. I watched Woman of the Hour.
Oh, I watched this too.
What did you think of Anna Kendrick's?
Oh, it was fine.
Her first movie. I thought it was fine too in terms of filmmaking. I found like the writing and structure of this, I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I really wasn't into it. I wasn't
really?
into the way that it was. I felt like they almost had to do it like that to just keep it more interesting, but I just wasn't really into the amount of time we spent with the killer, and I don't know. It just didn't quite work for me.
Well, this is what I'll say, because I feel it's kind of tough. I would say that I found it interesting and somewhat refreshing in that we spend a lot of time with the killer, but it's not really the killer killing, right?
Right.
And it's more so, it's just all these vignettes of like him with these people that end up being his victims. And it's just those interactions where something is said from the victim where it just like, it hurts him. Like it cracks his ego a little bit. And then that's when he, pounces. And I thought it just worked for me because watching this coupled with someone's watching me, which is kind of not necessarily the same thing, but like in the same, like the 70s, where the 70s just seemed like a really fucked up time to be a woman.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that really freaked me out with Woman of the Hour. So this is about the serial killer, what's his name? Rodney Alcala. So he was the guy that ended up being on the dating game, like in the midst of one of his killing sprees. So two things that freak me out is there's 9 murders attributed to him.
Yeah,
as many
suspect. Yeah.
Which
way more
is fucking terrifying because when he was working at the LA Times and like the police come in to, talk to him, which they didn't really show in the movie, but the reason that they came in and talked to him is because there was another serial killer on the loose that they thought he might be him. So there's 2 at the same time. And then reading up on this guy, when he lived in somewhere in the like Northeast or something, he worked with a serial killer. They were both like serial killers and they just didn't know it, but they worked together. Like there was just so many fucking serial killers.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy times, man, with all the serial killers. I think maybe that I don't know if the number of serial killers has diminished or it's just not as newsworthy anymore. I'm afraid of
Yeah,
the
I think it's.
latter.
I feel like it's changed because I feel like people that would be serial killers are now taking jobs where it's easier for them to be serial killers.
Could be, yeah.
But like the 130, like, oh, he could be attributed to 130. Well, how many of the 130 is the other serial killer that they thought he might be, which was like the Hillside Strangler or something, or one of the other ones that were working at the time?
Sadly, I don't think we'll ever know.
Just so fucked up.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a crazy story. I mean, the fact that she came so
Yeah.
close to potentially being one of his victims. I don't know if that I don't know what of the movie actually happened compared to the real story. Like I remember because I did see a documentary about the event, the whole thing, and I couldn't remember if that like interaction that happened in the parking lot, like if that happened in real life, but if it did, that's wild.
But the only thing that I know of is that she did like notice that he was like something was off about him, and
Yeah,
that's why she.
and I think if I remember correctly, the other contestants thought that he was off too, and the some of the other people were kind of warned her. I don't know if it happened like how it did in the movie with the one contestant like whispering it to
Yeah.
her, but I think that it did happen at some point where they're like this guy's kind of creepy, and I swear to God that I and maybe I'm like this is a false memory, but I swear that I like in the documentary that I watched, they said something about like he smelled bad, like he really stunk. And I could be completely making that up, but for some reason that's like sticking out in my head. Maybe I just imagine him as being someone who stinks,
Just want him to be.
just smells like meat. Like he's
Oh, gross.
that kind of guy. Yeah.
And the worst
Uh
part is looking him up and it's like, oh, he got to die in 2021 or something.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Lived good long life in prison.
it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm against the death penalty, but some things come up where you're like, well, am I though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I?
Especially with people like that who
Yeah.
just are just freaks, like sick freaks that probably shouldn't be alive. Anyway, that's Woman of the Hour. That's on Netflix. Good debut, I think, though, by Anna
Yeah.
Kendrick. Although I wasn't a big fan of the movie, I think that it was still. I think that her directing was pretty solid in it. Let's see. I saw Time Cut. This is on Netflix. We talked about this last week,
Oh, yeah.
and last week I incorrectly thought that this was somehow connected to the other time traveling slasher movie, Totally Killer. It's not connected at all. Like it's not related in any way. So what we have here is a Deep Impact Armageddon situation or a Dante's Peak volcano situation where it's two movies that are like basically the exact same that are just purely coincidence that they exist together, which is
How
pretty
about
wild. And even the killer's mask looks like strikingly similar. Like that's one of the reasons that I thought that they were somehow connected. But at any rate, this movie is basically the exact same as Totally Killer, except the protagonist goes back to the early 2000s rather than the 80s, and it plays like just a low rent version of Totally Killer. I liked Totally Killer. I thought it was fine, and I didn't think it was amazing or anything. This movie's kind of garbage. Like it's just the tropes are all here. It's just not very interesting, and I don't think that it really does anything fun with the whole time travel thing. Really, all it does is there's also this like weird thing where it's 20 years in the past. So the girl who's the main character, she goes back 20 years and is attempting to prevent the murder of her sister. So like in this movie, her sister is like 20 years older than her. And it's just kind of weird how it all plays out, and not very good. Kind of garbage.
Hmm.
Don't recommend it. Don't recommend Time Cut.
That's all I have. I just added two.
All right, I'll mention one other one, and that is I'll mention two other ones quickly. I'll mention The Apprentice. That came out on VOD this week. I actually liked this. This is directed by Ali Abbasi. I'm not really familiar with this director. Oh, he did Border. That's what he did. Okay, so I liked that. And The Apprentice, this is about Donald Trump's relationship with Roy Cohn and how Roy Cohn is really the person who made Donald Trump who he is. Like before Roy Cohn was in the picture, Donald Trump was just like this kind of nervous little weasel that was living in his father's shadow. And Roy Cohn sort of saw the potential in him to sort of mold him into the, giant piece of shit that he is today. And this movie just sort of goes through their relationship and the events that occurred to sort of bring him to where he is today. It takes place from the 70s, like the mid 70s, up until the early 80s. Actually, might be like mid 80s. And I liked it quite a bit. Like it in the early parts of it, they shot it like a like gritty, New York 70s style movie, very grainy, and I liked that. And then after it transitioned into the 80s, they made it look like it was kind of a shot on VHS. So I liked the
Yeah.
look of it. Really great performances from Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong here. Jeremy Strong, I'm gonna say, I think it's an easy prediction to say that he's gonna be up for some awards for this because he was just really, really good. But yeah, and also Maria Bakalova, who played Ivana Trump. Really good casting all around here. I recommend it, even if you like hate Donald Trump, which I hate him. Like I hate the man, but it's still quite a good, quite a good and entertaining movie. I like that the tagline is an American horror story. But yeah, I recommend it. I recommend the Apprentice. Check it out. The final one that I'll mention is Fatal Beauty. This is directed by Tom Holland, and it came out in 1987. This is a 80s crime thriller that stars Whoopi Goldberg as a Detective Rita Rizzoli, and she goes undercover. She works narcotics, and there's this. Essentially, what happens is there's a mix up with these cocaine manufacturers, and one of the people who is in charge of cutting the cocaine like messes it all up and creates this batch that is like extremely fatal. You take this cocaine, you're dead, basically. And turns out these gangsters, led by Brad Dourif, they steal the batch and then they start selling it on the streets. So people start dying, dropping like flies left and right, taking this bad cocaine. It's called Fatal Beauty. And it's up to Whoopi Goldberg to try to track down the suppliers and everything and find out who's selling it and get them off the street. And I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I think that it was just because oftentimes I am in the mood for this kind of movie, kind of gritty 80s crime action movie. It's interesting to see Whoopi Goldberg in here because she is a somewhat comedic person in this. Like it is somewhat of a comedic role, but like not super over the top. I mean, she's got plenty of one-liners and stuff, but the movie itself is pretty serious, despite what the poster is here. It's I wouldn't call it a comedy at all. Sam Elliott plays this like security guard that ends up following her around, and it's quite good. Lots of action, lots of shootouts and stuff. Surprisingly bloody. And yeah, I liked it. Fatal Beauty.
Oh yeah, no, this sounds great.
And I'm not the biggest like Whoopi Goldberg fan either, but she, like, her character in this is a little bit more understated than some of her other roles, like in Sister Act or, any of those.
Yeah,
I like Tom Holland too. Like, I think that I've liked most of Tom Holland's movies.
Fright Night's classic.
Yeah, Fright
Classic.
Night. He did the original Child's Play too,
Classic.
which is actually the link to this. I've been watching that Chucky documentary, the 5-hour-long Chucky documentary.
Of course, yeah.
And when they interviewed at the beginning for the first one, when they were interviewing Tom Holland, I was like, take a look at his filmography and see if there's anything I haven't seen of his that looks interesting. And this one popped up, and I was like, okay, I'm into this. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got Red One. This is that Christmas action movie with The Rock, Chris Evans. Looks pretty bad. We got Heretic also. This one I'm interested in. This is the horror movie with Hugh Grant.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are the big ones. On VOD this week, we have The Last Rifleman, starring Pierce Brosnan.
Oh,
We have A Different Man, and I know you're interested in that one.
oh, hell yeah.
I'm also interested in that. We got Look Back. Is that animated? Yeah, it's an animated one. We got 100 Yards, the 4:30 movie. Got A Sudden Case of Christmas,
Oh, no. Came
starring
on quick.
Danny DeVito and Andy McDowell and
Really?
Wilmer Valderrama.
What?
Boy, that is an interesting lineup.
Huh.
Lucy DeVito. Guessing that's his daughter? I don't know. We have Beyond the Wasteland. See what this is all about. The world's been ravaged by a pandemic. Alone and outside the safety of the forest, Marco faces a shattered world shrouded in silence and danger.
Asriel.
Or any other post-apocalyptic movie. It's pretty much the exact same. But yeah, Asriel specifically with the no talking, if that's what it is. He Never Left. And this looks like maybe a horror movie. Stockholm Bloodbath.
Oh, goodness.
For Carnage and Glory. Anne and Freya seek revenge on the men who murdered their family. They end up in Stockholm, where they are drawn into a political power struggle between Sweden and Denmark, which culminates in a mass execution. That looks like it could be kind of cool.
I would say you look on this bad boy on Letterboxd and half star, half star, half star.
Oh, okay then. Never mind. We have starring Jerry as himself. Got Drive Back. We got Selling Superman. Feeling Randy. Life Without Parole. The story of George Martirano. Spirit in the Blood. What is Spirit in the Blood? After young girls found dead in a secluded religious mountain community, a pack of teenage girls decide to fight against the evil spirits they believed killed her by embracing their own dark nature. All right. I might take a look at that one, see a little bit more about that one. Look at I don't know who directed it, but maybe that's worth giving a shot. Escaping Ohio, we got Saving Christmas. I mean, how many movies are called Saving Christmas? I feel like there's a lot. Let's see what else. Got Rock. We got American Meltdown. And then finally we have Me Little Me. On Netflix this week, we have Meet Me Next Christmas. We got Pedro Paramo. And we have Umjolo, the Gone Girl. On Shudder this week, we have Black Cab, which stars Nick Frost. Also stars Nick Frost.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's on a tear.
Yeah, I guess so. On Blu-ray this week, we have White Christmas from 1954 coming out in 4K. Trap is coming out. We got Rules of Engagement from 2000. Escape from New York, getting a 4K Steelbook edition. The 430 movie is also getting a 4K steelbook. 1982, The Greatest Geek Year Ever, comes out on the MVD Rewind collection. Strange Darling comes out. Blink Twice. It's like John Wick is getting a new 4K steelbook edition. The Crow, that's the new one, which I didn't talk about on this show because it honestly was not even worth me mentioning.
Really?
Oh my God, it was so awful. It's so terrible.
Wow.
The action was okay. I mean, I'll give it that. Like, there's some decent action scenes. I mean, it was super violent, and some of the action sequences were well shot, but plot wise, story wise, just nothing. No need for that movie to exist. Let's see what else we have here. It Ends With Us. Frankie Frico. Wolfman's Got Nards. I think that's a documentary. I think that's a documentary about what you call it. Dang it. Monster Squad. That's it. The iconic line. Wolfman's got nards. I love Monster Squad. Let's see. Afraid. That's the AI one that's terrible that came out earlier this year. You Gotta Believe, which is the one with Luke Wilson and Greg Kinnear, the baseball team or something.
Oh, yeah. Just believe in yourself, bud.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What about Criterion's this week?
Oh, we just got Godzilla from 1954 getting its own 4K UHD release.
Yeah,
Godzilla.
which I have that wonderful box set they released, and now that's obsolete. So fuck me, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the way they planned it. They fucking got you.
And that was an expensive box set too. That wasn't a cheapie one.
Oh, they scammed you hard.
Yeah, they did. Damn it. Oh well. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, consider giving us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Kevin Rake Show, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.